All right, you are looking live at the Rio Grande Valley as Border Patrol is rounding up a group of migrants.
Yeah, as you can see, we've got
Unbelievable.
a drone shot. What is interesting about this is, once upon a time, the migrants would race across the border and then scatter. But now what they're doing is they are waiting in place for the Border Patrol to turn themselves in, because if you're an unaccompanied migrant child or a family, for the most part, it's going to be the easy pass to get into the United States. Just turn yourself in. They will process you at one of those jail-like facilities that is overcrowded, and the next stop, Ainsley, is someplace in America.
That's right. That's right. We're seeing some single individuals coming in. We're seeing unaccompanied children, and we're also seeing families. And most of the families, if you look at the numbers from this past February compared to last February, it was here in the Rio Grande Valley. Let's bring in Tucker Carlson. He is host of Tucker Carlson Tonight. Hey, Tucker.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning. We miss you on the morning show, but we're proud of you for all your success. What do you make of what's happening down there on the border? Is that our biggest issue right now?
Well, yeah, because unlike so many issues we face right now, this one will, we know for certain, change the country forever. I mean, the stakes couldn't be higher. The question of who lives here is the central question. It's a democracy. So when you change the population, you change the outcome of the vote, which means you change the way the country is run. And that's, of course, the whole point of this. This country has gained 100 million people in the last 30 years. Most Americans aren't even aware of that. So we've had massive demographic change. It's not enough for the people in charge. And so this is an effort basically to pack the electorate. I mean, so if you open the borders and then sponsor legislation giving citizenship and voting rights to the people you've just admitted illegally, what are you doing? You're trying to change election outcomes, and that's what they are doing.
I think that's a point. But however, for people who think the Hispanic vote goes automatically to Democrats, they didn't pay attention to the last election, because the president's picking up a lot of precincts in Texas, in particular. I think 8 in all, who were mostly Hispanic in the last election. Not enough. They're getting about 9,000, Tucker, 9,000 illegal immigrants daily. Currently, we have 11,000 children unaccompanied, 11,000 plus children, maybe more like 12. In HHS, and 5,767 is CBP. I don't understand. You maybe could see a bigger picture better than I can. How does this help President Biden's administration? He wants to talk about what has got him 70% approval rating, the $1.9 trillion that he just got. He wants to talk about all his programs. But all everybody else wants to talk about, even Democrats and other networks, is this. How does this help Joe Biden?
Well, I think it helps the Democratic Party long term. Again, the Democratic Party is extremely frustrated by the idea that there are Americans who don't vote for them, who reject their program. So if you change the nature of the people who live here, then you win forever. So they really do think in longer terms, I think. I mean, we're only 2.5 months into the administration at this point. So, I mean, they're thinking 10 years ahead, which is the way they think. I mean, they think in a much broader way than your average Republican politician, I would say. The question is, what is happening to all these people? Where are they going? We know that a lot of them aren't staying at the border. They're being flown into the interior of the country. There's evidence, and I think we're going to have the story tonight at 8, that some of these kids are being placed in foster families in states very far from the U.S. border. If that's true, it's an amazing story. Now, part of the problem is the media aren't covering this, partly because they got Biden elected and they don't want to hurt his administration so soon into it, partly because there's been a news blackout on what's happening at the border. But you have to ask, this is a huge number of people, an unprecedented number of people. Where are they exactly? Yeah. They're not all in Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, and California.
Well, Tucker, there's a news blackout because during the Trump administration, when there was that one image of those kids in that room that had the chain link fence enclosure, the media melted down and said it's kids in cages. They're essentially in the same cages at the same facilities, but there's not the outcry that we saw before. And what's different about now is it's the same conditions, but there's a global pandemic. And the news this morning out of the White House is that apparently the president of Guatemala is worried about the kids and the families coming into Guatemala who might have COVID, which is ironic because the Biden administration released untold legions of migrants into the United States without ever testing for COVID. So on one hand,
Right.
Tucker Carlson, you got the president saying we got to bring an end to COVID, but at the same time, it's like, okay, the loophole is everybody needs to worry about COVID except the people who are coming in to our southern border illegally and just check in with our
Right.
Border Patrol.
So, right, in order to hold a job or fly in an airplane, you have to get a vaccine and wear a mask after you get a vaccine and remain in terror of the virus after you get the vaccine. But people from foreign countries can be admitted without any testing at all. I mean, it's just yet another example of the intense focus on foreign nationals to the exclusion of the interests of American citizens. I mean, there are like 600,000 Americans sleeping on the street every night. They're homeless. No one seems to care. No one seems even to notice they're there unless you happen to live in a big city and your park's been taken over by a tent city. And yet we're paying for hotel rooms for foreign nationals who broke our laws to get here. Look, it's no attack on people who rode a train from Belize to get here at all. But it's, if you're running the U.S. government, you got to care about U.S. citizens first and foremost. That's your job, but they don't.
Well, look what's happening in California and San Diego, and you're from California, so you can weigh in on this story. The convention center there, they're asking taxpayers to keep your kids at school who haven't been in school for more than a year. You need to keep Zooming or virtual learning, but your tax dollars need to go toward the migrant children who are here illegally. We're going to pay for them to get an education.
In
They're
person.
asking teachers to come to the convention center and volunteer in person, because they're on spring break right now, to come in and teach the migrant children. How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, it's one of the, I mean, keeping American children out of school for a year is one of the cruelest things this country has ever done. And it tells you the power of the teachers' unions. There's almost nobody who's for that. There's no scientific basis for the policy. It's killed a lot of people. I mean, mental health issues among children have skyrocketed. Exactly right. And we've interviewed parents of kids who've killed themselves because of the isolation of the lockdowns. And yet, they're putting, once again, the priority on foreign nationals. And again, it's not against migrant kids, but the extent to which they ignore American kids is shocking. And by the way, California has gained 10 million people net since 1990. 10 million. Has the state gotten nicer? No. It's gotten much worse. Immigration is the main driver of population growth in California. People who are born there are leaving, and the state every year gets worse for the middle class. No one is standing back and asking, how is this going to improve our country? It's not, and no one is even arguing that it is. I really think Republicans need to wake up and see the big picture here, which is the country will be changed forever, and no one is making the case that it will improve.
And the thing is, it's opportunity, too, because, hey, I gave you time to run your state in California. What you gave us back was homelessness and kids who don't go to school. And a lockdown state with numbers that are higher than New York and higher than Texas, and New York and Texas and Florida are free. So let's talk about something else that is getting a lot of controversy, and that's what happens when you get vaccinated. They're talking about a vaccine passport, where if you get vaccinated, maybe you can go to that game. You get vaccinated, maybe you go to that on that plane. And if not, maybe you don't. Governor Ron DeSantis, in a state you're familiar with, Florida, said this about the concept of vaccine passports.
It's completely unacceptable for either the government or the private sector to impose upon you the requirement that you show proof of vaccine to just simply be able to participate in normal society. You want the fox to guard the hen house? I mean, give me a break. I think this is something that has huge privacy implications. It is not necessary to do.
He's not waiting to find out what Joe Biden's going to do. Tucker, where do you stand?
Why is it left to the governor of Florida to say that? Aren't there 50 Republicans in the Senate? Why aren't they standing all in a line with Mitch McConnell in the Senate saying, no, we're not doing this? I'm sorry, you're not allowed. In this country, because of HIPAA laws, you're not allowed to know if your kids have a sex change. I mean, and now your private whether you're vaccinated or not, is that information will be in the hands of the tech companies, and that will determine whether you can participate in American life. Look, if you're trying to calm people down about the idea of vaccines and make them less vaccine hesitant and make them, convince them that it's not a conspiracy run by Bill Gates, a conspiracy theory, then you wouldn't even consider doing something like this. I mean, the amount of paranoia and fear and distrust and social division that this kind of policy will engender is impossible to calculate. If you wanted to divide American society even further, you would go ahead and do something Orwellian like this. Of course, they don't care, but where are the defenders of, I don't know, the American way in Washington? I mean, they really should be outraged by this, in my opinion.
All right. And speaking of opinion, that's something that we're going to hear a lot more of. And if you moved your head a little bit, we could actually see the sign that says Tucker Carlson Today. Okay, that is right there.
Tucker changed his name to Ucker.
Tucker, we love the new set. Apparently, over the weekend, you called in Skip Bedell. You got some wood paneling. This is the official home now of Tucker Carlson Today, right?
I like wood. Wood was alive. I mean, wood is, the greatest building material there is. And I like being surrounded by it all times. Yeah, this is essentially an opportunity to go deeper and longer with interesting people. I talk less, they talk more. Everyone learns a lot. Super interesting. Right. These interviews can go on for quite some time. And if you like long form, and I think there's a place for it, it's great. And by the way, it's not easy to get. Not difficult to get. I'm not good at tech. But if you go on to foxnation.com, which I did on Saturday, I was expecting a difficult. No, it's actually super easy.
It's the first time you've gone on Fox Nation?
Thanks. Why do I have a series on there and everything?
I know, Tucker. When you get your show, that's when you're interested.
To sign up.
I see.
Sign up, I have like because I work here, so I have like free access. But I was like, I'm going to do it as everyone else does it. And it's like, it's not hard. And trust me, I can barely operate my iPad.
Right.
But
so
they make it easy for you.
I heard you talk about, you got a clip last night of Douglas Murray, you and him have some quality time. Here's some more.
What's important in our society has changed radically and in an ugly direction. It makes everything political. It wants to politicize everything. It wants to politicize art. It wants to politicize poetry. All of the things that were meaningful in our lives have been picked up and spun through this cycle of politics.
That's great.
Deep thinker. And you talk to him. That's your first episode?
Yeah, what a genius that guy is. I mean, but to talk to him, we split it up into a couple of hours. Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, by the end of that interview, I was so relieved and reassured about the future of the country. He just has this overview on what's happening and what we can do about it that changed my view. So yeah, it was wonderful.
Tucker Carlson, we have a few openings this summer on vacation. Do you want to fill in on Fox and Friends at all? Like you used to?
That is the toughest. I hope your audience understands how hard it is to wake up at 3 in the morning and do 3 hours. I am just filled with awe and respect, and I mean that.
That's a no. I think he's turned down the shift.
Every day is like a telethon.
Yes!
That's when he has coffee with his wife.
That's right. Tucker Carlson Today in the new Ranch House wood grain studio is available now on Fox Nation. New episodes drop Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Be like Tucker Carlson and go to foxnation.com to check it out. Tucker, we'll be watching tonight. Thank you very much for getting
Tucker.
up early.
Great to see you. And you, Ainsley. See ya.
Always good to see you. And now I can see your full name up there, too. He's back. He's back to Tucker.
He always singles you out.